Hello, everyone. So glad you're here. Welcome to the Advancement Center, and welcome to your world of magic and miracles, where we gather up here on the elevated platform of living and broadcast to the world what we know to be true. And the flies are trying to join me in this message, so I'll do my best. On Wednesday, Genya had us feeling the effect that music has on us just by sharing her own experiences. And on Friday, David revealed that the universe is inside of us, and that everything that has ever been and that will be exists inside of us and always has been there. Wow, what an amazing introduction to follow. Today, I bring you a simple rule of life that, when put into practice, enables smooth sailing through every moment, no matter what appears to be happening. It serves as your lift to the top of the wave and a quick reverse if you ever find yourself going down a one-way street the wrong way. And here it is. When you change one thought pattern, the world around you reveals a new picture and events to fill that pattern. I've been practicing that on purpose, and it works. David, in his book, I Am Change, says every change, without exception, leads you to growth, transformation, and becoming who you truly are. And so many people resist change. They like things just the way they are. Don't confuse me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have to move past that, because those are old ladies talking to each other. And that's not who we are. The moment we forget that we are visitors from our origin and that every moment is brand new, there is a tendency to see a continuum, a pattern, and an attitude of a changeless, endless existence. This is the place where we cannot see the effect of our being on others, and most importantly, on ourselves. I know that I struck a chord of familiarity by the numbers of agreement to my invitation. I hereby invite you to join me in this awareness. Your body, your form, is there to respond to you. Your body listens to everything you think or say on a cellular level. As a certified hypnosis therapist, this was so apparent to me. I witnessed clients actually think their way into dead ends, where all progress was impeded and the power of the thought was stronger than the will to change. I learned many, many lessons when I worked in the hospital, and I saw these patterns and helped many to see their patterns even for a moment. And then that one moment turned into 2 moments and perhaps half a day. So, in answer to my question all those years ago, when I said, "What am I doing here?" I now know it was many, many lessons learned. And for that, I'm grateful. And grateful that I'm not there anymore. So, do you remember Robert telling of the child who runs into a wall and falls down? And if the mother does not come running over screaming to rescue the child, he just gets up and continues to play. The accident has not been elevated to a thought carried. And sometimes that thought is carried on and on via a memory. And sometimes that lasts through a lifetime. And we have no idea how that pattern got started. But I can see how easy it is how patterns were formed in childhood and considered natural. I see the creative genius in saying, when you see a pattern, break it. These were extremes. How about a simple thought pattern? Like planning for the day, leaving nothing to chance, planning every moment. And now we're going to do this, and now we're going to do that, and then we're going to meet him and go over there. How dull, how unexciting. And we have the power to just follow our spirit. And this implies freedom, freedom of movement, freedom of randomness, and the realization of the knowingness of your origin and the gifts you have to offer to the world, plus the strength to reject limitation, so prevalent if you don't elevate your thought pattern away. Remember, you have it all within yourself. Changing a thought pattern is a gift to yourself, a surprise to see what was hidden from sight and suddenly revealed. Remember, there is always another way. And this certainly reminds me of my journey to this very moment. Without change to my own thought patterns, I would be living in my house in Connecticut, singing with the Fairfield County Chorale in weekly rehearsals and a few concerts a year. I took a chance and made a change. If I hadn't, nothing new would ever have happened. I've never even thought that before. I moved to Hawaii, took a course with 3 parts. The first part was in Orlando. And as crazy and as nutty as it sounded, the second part was being offered in Australia, where I met my future, where I met my husband, Robert Young. Living with Robert sheds a constant light on patterns to be shed. We have both released so much, but I arrived with many, many, many patterns. And I welcome the future into our lives every day, because the more you release, the more you're welcoming the future to enter your life. Thank you, Robert, for opening my eyes and reminding me of who and what I am. Now, this monologue must become a dialogue that touches everyone, now and in the future, when anyone tunes in to this recording. So now I would love to welcome Robert. Hi there. It's so good to see you there.
Yeah, I've been around a while. And we're only separated by a few rooms.
That's true. You're inside, I'm outside.
Yeah.
I have the flies. You don't.
That's true. So one of the things you were talking about was getting rid of thought patterns. And in fact, you don't have to.
You don't shed them?
No, it does it by itself as long as you allow it. So it's your willingness that actually allows the movement. It's like the willingness of a seed to actually start to grow. It has everything around it already, but unless it makes its mind up, I'm going to be a flower, it doesn't start. So in everything that you're talking about, the simplicity is in the willingness.
Wow.
Not to control what's coming next. It's really hard to put into words, but there must have been a lot of circumstances around you at the time you decided you've had enough of sitting around in the one place.
Yes.
Many, many circumstances. Till you get to that point where you say, I've got to do something about this. I don't know what it is, but I've got to do something about it. That's the willingness.
Okay.
So there are many parts to every picture. And as you look at them, you don't see anything except the picture that's filled by the patterns that you're used to. So as we talk a lot about it, it becomes easier to just allow the simplicity to take over.
Yeah.
Simplicity says, well, I can't keep doing this all the time. But it doesn't tell you how to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you say, I can't do this all the time, more circumstances jump in front of you. And those circumstances actually make you think differently. Like you happen to kick your toe, you start to think differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walk around a corner and somebody's there that you haven't seen for years. Your whole world changes.
It's true.
And if you meet somebody that sparkles something in you, once again, the simplicity takes over and all thought patterns change. So your willingness to allow them to stay there so you can move forward is all that's needed. It's that excitement of newness that actually brings it all to the surface. So your excitement of newness, of I've got to do something, grew very quickly into a course that you had no idea about.
Exactly.
Or where it was leading. So that became a big event in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to stay a big event.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are many more big events. So as we look at things that have changed our direction, we start to make them a little out of proportion. And that holds us back because we've
I can see
captured a
that.
set of patterns
Yeah.
that we approve.
Wow.
So it's not good or bad that matters. It's the simplicity of continuing to move and continuing to allow the big things to come into your life. So without any sense of right or wrong, you can have more and more and more big things that come into your life that take you to a new plane where everything continues to be perfect, even though you have no idea what you're doing. And you don't need so long to build approval because you approve everything.
Wow. What an expansion.
Yeah, so you don't have to get into comparison anymore. It's all moving and it's fast and it's all big, whether it's positive or negative in your assessment. And it keeps highlighting all the special things in your life instead of a special thing in your life. So there's so much more if you can allow it. And it's not expectation, it's not having to train a thought or to get rid of anything. It's just that fleeting thought that says, oh, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do what's coming to me. And that fleeting thought changes your direction even when you're walking around the house. You plan to do one thing and then all of a sudden you're doing something else.
Yes.
That's healthy. That's really healthy. The thing you plan to do may never get done, or it might get done in the next minute.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what has been injected into the flow.
Wow.
So you walk from one room to the other and you wonder why you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back, you'll probably find the old memory will come back when you stand in the first room. And if you just keep going, the new thing that was just flashed into your field will actually appear. And you'll be much happier than what you'd planned. That's
That
just,
happens over and over and over again.
yeah, and that's the small things. Now allow them to be big. That's not pointing at anybody. That's saying, that's the steps. Allow the small things to be big. And that's breathtaking and sometimes overwhelming. And you find that you are either involved in something that's enormous, or you create something that's enormous just by stepping forward.
So simple.
We're having a lot of fun playing with all this, and there's different things to look at every time.
Yeah. But
you don't have to remember any of it. You just have to talk about it.
Exactly. That's why I adore these dialogues.
It's
and
just
I'm
like
glad that everyone's listening to it.
Yeah.
That we can share it.
Yeah. Having a chat makes it real.
Yeah.
So everything you've said is perfect. When we start to talk, it gets volume. And that's volume in sound and volume in what do you call that? Mass.
Oh, it grows.
Yeah. And that's part of I suppose you'd call it the little secret of magic and miracles. More magic comes out of interaction and conversation than comes out of any million books that are ever put out,
Yes.
because there's no focus on anything except the interaction. And that weaves many fields in many worlds without dumping anything on anybody. And it supports and encourages.
Yes. Yes.
So when you said, I've decided that I want you to be on today, which I must mention was only this morning,
Right.
I said, I don't know. But then as I walked around, it just happened. We put it all together and here I am.
And that's what's so exciting about spontaneity. It's real, it's natural, it's exciting. And I remember even being a tiny little girl saying, oh, I love when there's something exciting on the horizon. I don't know what it is, but I love something new coming. And that's always been true.
Yeah, I can see it in your eyes, and so can everybody who's watching the screen. That brings out something in us that is more valuable
Yeah.
than anything we can offer by planning.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, something that you said yesterday was so effective, and it changed my whole approach and my whole thinking about this topic. And all of a sudden, I thought of the title of today's broadcast, and I had 6 new ideas about how to go about this project. And I watched them appear, and they were easy and simple. So for that, I thank you.
You don't have to thank me. It didn't come from me.
Oh, it sounded like it did.
It came from you.
That's true, I suppose.
Yeah.
I just gave you the cue cards.
So that I could hold them up for you.
Yeah. But what you said about just chatting without any imperative or focus about where you want it to go or control is just huge. Huge.
Most chats don't have a subject. You just keep talking rubbish until it turns into something good. And it usually turns into something really good.
Yeah.
Just because you've all agreed, or two have agreed, to interact.
Yes. Yes.
And it's really good because we're both in a position where we don't get distracted by things that bring in other thoughts. Like the phone is turned off.
Mm-hmm.
The computer is on, but it's on for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not getting into our life.
Yeah.
And because we're able to spend this time, you'll find that the things that try to come into your life that don't fit will actually seem so small you won't take much notice.
Yeah, they've even become these pesky flies.
It's like ad comes on the TV, you turn off, but you don't think about turning off.
Yeah.
So it plays away in front of you, and then the show comes back on, and you turn back on. You don't even have to press a button. Or you find you can walk away and you come back just at the right time, because there is something else that allows us to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Without us having to rely on the clock or switching something on or off.
Yes.
It becomes a smooth dance. So you just get the next partner as you move around, dance, and watch them disappear, and somebody else come in. And that's the conversation and the dance, and that's the music that we play.
Mm-hmm.
An unusual tune that fits everything. And even the times we're supposed to pause, we know about. Remember, I keep saying, if somebody says to you when you're washing up, "Can you come and look at this?" You say, "In a minute." And you keep going until you find that break point where you can leave the washing.
Yes.
But it didn't make much difference to what you were doing. You probably didn't even finish your plate. But you take it to a point that you know is suitable. And that's the same in all our interactions. We have special times when we can break from what we're doing. We have special times when we can listen. We have special times when we can talk. And it works without effort.
This time is so precious. I thank you for that last minute invitation that you accept with such grace and love and caring. And that's what we offer always.
Yeah.
So we both always wish you a perfect life, perfect health, and a very magical future. Thank you.